Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 2 of the podcast. I'm David, and this is a space where we grow, we think deeper, and we challenge ourselves to become better. Let's jump right in with the first question. We all know change is good for us, right? But why do we stay in routines that drain us? Why do we keep scrolling when we know we should be sleeping? Why do we stay comfortable in habits that aren't helping us grow? What if the problem isn't weakness, but what if it's wiring? Think about it. If change were easy, everyone would do it. If growth felt comfortable, we'd all be where we want to be already. So maybe the resistance you feel isn't proof you're broken, but maybe it's proof you're stretching. Friends, I've noticed this in my own life. Sometimes I knew exactly what I needed to change, but something inside me resisted it. But let me tell you, your brain is not the enemy, my friends. The amygdala, which is part of the brain, which is responsible for processing fear, reacts to uncertainty. Our brains prefer predictability, so change equals unknown. What does unknown equal? It equals potential threat. So when you try to change your life, your brain doesn't panic because you're incapable. It reacts because it doesn't have a prediction. Did you know that researchers found nearly 40 to 45% of our daily actions are habit? Meaning, half of your life you are running on autopilot, and half of what you do every day is automatic. So, when you try to change, you're not just fighting a decision, you're fighting autopilot. And autopilot isn't evil, let me make that clear. It's efficient. Your brain builds habits to conserve energy. That's how we survive. But what once protected you can eventually limit you. The same wiring that kept you safe at one stage of life might keep you small in the next. Humans prefer familiar discomfort over unfamiliar possibility. Let me say that again. Humans prefer familiar discomfort over unfamiliar possibility. Psychologists call this status quo bias, if I'm saying that correctly. Our tendency to prefer things to stay the same, even when change would benefit us. That's not weakness, my friends. It is psychology. Comfort isn't always healthy. It's just known. Some people stay in jobs they don't even enjoy for years. Not because they can't do better, but because the discomfort they know feels safer than the risk that they don't. Some people stay in mindsets that shrink them, my friends. Not because they love them, but because they understand them. But there's another possibility psychologists talk about, and this one surprised me. Something studied in psychology is the fear of success. What if you're not afraid of failing? What if you're afraid of who you would have become if you actually succeeded? Success changes your identity, my friends, and success changes expectations. But let me tell you, growth removes excuses. So maybe you're not afraid of losing, maybe you're afraid of evolving. I had to realize, guys, that staying the same felt comfortable, but it was slowly costing me my life. The life that I actually wanted. Sometimes you have to ask yourself, is the pain of growth worse than the pain of staying the same? Well, my friends, I do have some good news for you. Modern neuroscience has demonstrated that the brain remains capable of change through life. This is called neuroplasticity. The more you practice something, the stronger those neural pathways become, which means confidence is trainable, discipline is trainable, even courage is trainable. You don't become brave by waiting to feel brave. You become brave by acting while uncomfortable. So, the version of you that feels unfamiliar right now is literally trainable. Now listen to this closely, my friends. If life is random, change feels risky. But if life has purpose, change feels required. Listen to that. If life is random, change feels risky. But if life has purpose, change feels required. You're not stuck. You're wired. And wiring can be rewritten. God bless you guys. This is the David Podcast. Healing, humor, honesty, and we're going to keep talking about the things nobody else wants to. I'll see you on the next episode.